All right, my people, we have a breaking news. And what just happened inside the House of Representatives is not ordinary drama. This is election politics showing its real face. Lawmakers were in a rowdy session, shouting, protesting, walking out. And the reason is one thing that will shape the future of Nigeria's elections: electronic transmission of results. Before we go into the full details, please make sure you like this video and subscribe so you don't miss any of our premium updates here on the channel. Also, please stay with me till the end of this video because we'll be exposing a lot of hidden secrets that most mainstream media won't put in public. Now, back to the news. Let's understand this clearly. Opposition lawmakers wanted electronic transmission of election results to be mandatory, not optional, not flexible, mandatory. And they did not want manual collation to be used as a fallback if technology fails. That is a very strong position. Because in simple terms, they are saying once results are transmitted electronically, that should be the final process. No manual backup that can be manipulated later. Now imagine the tension in that chamber when this kind of proposal comes up. This is not a small clause in a law. This is the backbone of how elections will be conducted in 2027. And when the House moved to rescind and revisit the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2025, opposition lawmakers did not agree. They walked out. Not quietly, not politely. They left plenary in protest. That walkout alone is a political message. It means they believe something very serious is happening behind the scenes. Now here is where the situation becomes even more controversial. The bill had already been passed in December 2025. Passed, done, settled. But now lawmakers are saying a technical committee reviewed it and found inconsistencies, anomalies, and unintended consequences. So the House wants to rescind the decision and recommit the bill for fresh consideration. On the surface, that sounds like legislative correction. But politically, it raises suspicion because we are talking about electoral law, not road construction law, not education policy, election law. And Nigerians are extremely sensitive about anything that touches election credibility. The Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, even said clearly that the issues before the House will define the elections of 2027. That statement alone tells you how big this moment is. They suspended budget defense sessions just to focus on this matter. That shows urgency. That shows priority. That shows political weight. But then came the most explosive moment. When the question was put to rescind the Electoral Act amendment, reports said the nays were louder, meaning more lawmakers appeared to oppose the rescission. But the Speaker reportedly gave it to the ayes after hitting the gavel. That is where everything broke down. Because in parliamentary settings, voice votes depend heavily on perception of majority sound. If lawmakers strongly believe the nays had it, and the gavel says otherwise, tension will explode immediately. And that is exactly what happened. Protests on the floor, arguments, disagreement, then a closed-door session. This is not just procedure anymore. This is trust being tested inside the legislative process. Now let's talk about the real issue behind all this noise. Electronic transmission versus manual collation. Nigeria's recent election history has made electronic transmission a very sensitive topic. Many citizens believe electronic transmission increases transparency because results go directly from polling units into a central system. Less human interference, less room for alteration during collation stages. But the argument from those supporting manual fallback is usually about infrastructure. Nigeria still has areas with weak network coverage, poor electricity, and technological limitations. They argue that if technology fails in rural areas, elections should not collapse completely. That is where manual collation becomes the backup option. So this is not just a technical debate. This is a political trust debate. Opposition lawmakers are likely worried that allowing manual fallback creates loopholes. Loopholes that can be exploited during collation stages where results are often contested. In their view, once manual collation enters the process, the integrity of electronic transmission can be compromised. On the other hand, lawmakers pushing for review of the bill are saying the technical committee found inconsistencies and unintended consequences. That means some provisions may not be practical or may create administrative problems during real elections. But Nigerians are not just listening to legal explanations. They are watching the timing. We are already approaching the political build-up to 2027 elections. Alliances are forming. Political calculations are starting quietly, so any move to revisit the Electoral Act now will automatically be seen through a political lens, not just a legislative lens. People will ask simple questions. Why now? What exactly are the inconsistencies? Who benefits from these changes? Those questions will dominate public discussions. Another serious implication is public confidence in the electoral system. One of the key goals mentioned was to ensure fairness, inclusivity, administrative efficiency, and public trust. But when lawmakers are shouting, protesting, and walking out over electoral law, it can send the opposite signal to citizens. It creates doubt. Because if lawmakers themselves cannot agree calmly on the rules that will govern elections, how confident will voters feel about the process? The walkout by opposition lawmakers is also strategic. Walking out is not just emotional reaction. It is a political tool. It signals rejection. It creates public attention. It puts pressure on leadership. It also helps them frame the narrative that they are defending electoral transparency. Meanwhile, the leadership of the House is framing the rescission as a technical correction to strengthen the electoral framework. So now we have two narratives. One side saying, we are fixing legal inconsistencies for better elections. Another side saying, you are weakening electoral transparency, and both narratives will compete heavily in the public space. Closed-door sessions after such heated debates also tell you the matter is extremely sensitive. When lawmakers move discussions behind closed doors, it usually means negotiations, power balancing, and political compromises are happening away from public cameras. But even those private discussions cannot erase what already happened in the open chamber. The image of a rowdy session over election law will stay in public memory. And let's be honest, elections in Nigeria are not just political events. They are emotional national events. Citizens want credible elections. They want results they can trust. They want processes that are clear and difficult to manipulate. So when they hear that manual collation fallback is being debated again, many will immediately become suspicious because past electoral controversies often centered around result collation stages, not just voting itself. This development also signals that the 2027 elections are already shaping legislative priorities. Suspending budget defense just to focus on electoral law shows that political actors understand how crucial the legal framework is before the next election cycle. Laws written now will determine how results are transmitted, how disputes are handled, and how credible the electoral process will appear nationally and internationally. Another deeper concern is institutional credibility. If the public begins to feel that electoral laws are being adjusted too frequently or too close to election cycles, it may reduce trust in the neutrality of the legislative process. Stability in electoral law builds confidence. Frequent revisions create suspicion. That is the political reality. What happened in the House is not just noise, it is an early signal of the intense political battles that will likely define the road to 2027. Electoral law is the battlefield before the actual election battlefield. And once lawmakers start fighting over the rules of the game, it means the stakes of the game itself are extremely high. Right now, the bill is being recommitted for fresh consideration. That means more debates are coming, more negotiations are coming, more political pressure is coming, and every clause inside that Electoral Act amendment will now be examined with heavy political interest. Because whoever influences the electoral framework influences the environment in which elections are conducted. And Nigerians are watching closely. Not just politicians, not just analysts, ordinary voters. Because at the end of the day, this is not just about lawmakers arguing in Abuja. This is about the credibility of the 2027 elections. And once the credibility of the elections becomes a heated political battle inside the legislature, it means the real political tension has already started long before the first vote is even cast.
Americans and Nigerians were in the Capitol Hill presenting their request. Nobody sent a tear gas. You can imagine me. You can imagine in this place right now. I just came in from the States, and you can imagine Nigerians in a peaceful demonstration. You're pumping tear gas on Nigerians. Just imagine me right now.
Has been peaceful. Our demand for the right thing to be done
is simple request by the people, simple request by the citizen, and all that they need to do is to listen to the citizen and not to come and threaten the citizen. This our younger generation. I was passing and I saw these younger people standing for the future of the nation. And what this country, what these people can do is to bomb tear gas on innocent Nigerians. Now, I'm saying this. I'm saying this to every Nigerian. Let me say this. You are responsible to decide what happened in your country.
Yes.
You are responsible.
Yes.
You either allow tyranny or you allow democracy to reign in your country. Nigeria, it is your time. I am here as a priest.
Yes.
I am here as a priest. I came to see what's going on and to stand with these young people. All they are asking for is for the e-transmission of results, real time. And this is what you're getting.
We are not deterred. There is no going back. We are not better than the 100 persons killed in Kwara. We are not better than persons killed in Bokos and Mangu in Peru. We are not better than people in Yelwata and Benue State. For how long will Nigerian leaders continue to kill their citizens rather than to do the right thing? Instead of going to take the decision that favors the people, they are trying to twist us. They are trying to suppress us. They want to steal the votes of the people. It will not work. Tear gas is a normal thing. We continue to insist our vote must count. We want mandatory real-time electronic transmission of results. No going back.
I stand.
This is the only thing you can do. If this is the only institution we have in Nigeria, by making our transmission instant. That is the first beginning.
They don't know how to go after terrorists and bandits. It is peaceful protesters that tear gas.
I was not tear gassed when I demanded to talk with the American congressmen. They listened to me and listened to my offer. Why should in Nigeria, Nigerians making their presentation of what they are asking for, and all that they will get is tear gassing all of these people? Nigeria, it's time we join hands together and stop it.
Let me tell you the reason why the senators will not upload the votes or the from EC8 to the INEC portal real time. And what are we saying? Snap it and upload. And we are there arguing whether it is possible. Some people are making noise. Ronald Mokore is saying real-time transmission. We are not doing electronic voting. What we are asking them to do was what they did in 2023. There is no from EC8 of any House of Representative or any senator that was not uploaded to the portal. One election was conducted in one day at the same time. You pick 3 voting ballots. You put one in the presidency. You put one in the House of Rep. You put one in the Senate. Same time. Results were counted at the same time. At the end of the voting, all of 3 of these results were counted. When you upload that of House of Rep, it will go. You upload that of Senate, it will go. When you now upload that of presidency, they say there's a glitch. Who is deceiving who? And in the 19,400 polling units that are in Nigeria, all of them uploaded from EC8 for House of Rep and Senate members real time. They were all uploaded real time in 2023. So if that of Senate and House of Rep went, why are we now arguing in 2026 that we cannot do it in 2027? Let nobody deceive you. They believe that that is the only way Bola Tinubu can win. That's why they have included the manual side. That if it doesn't happen, we should be able to do it manually. What we did in 2023, if there's a senator that will come and tell me, or a House of Rep member that will come and tell me that his or her result was not uploaded to the INEC portal that day, that from EC8 was not snapped and sent there, let them come out. So 100% it was achieved in 2023. Then what are they telling us that it's not possible in 2028? What we are saying is this: make it a law, make it a crime for anybody that will not upload it. If we can do it, if we did it in 2023, isn't that we cannot do it? Let the senators not deceive us, and let the House of Rep members not deceive us. Because if there's any one of them that their results was not uploaded in the 19,400 polling units that exist in Nigeria as of then, let them come out and tell us. My name is Dr. Ifeanyi Okeke, and I want to make sense.